Time for a hero in a pith helmet. Sing lofty. No, it's not that particular hero in a pith helmet. We are, of course, talking Sabre Man. The game being Sabre Wulf by Ultimate Play the Game, copyright 1984, Ashby Computer Graphics, because of course that was the company name and Ultimate was just their kind of the name they used to market their games. The game originally started on the Sinclair Spectrum. We're on the +2 here, but you know what? Because this is a Spectrum game on the 48K, let's go over to my issue 4S for some composite goodness. There is a 2-player option on the game, but it's 1 player after the other. It's not co-op. And you're a Sabre Man. You have to find 4 pieces of an amulet in a maze that is 256 screens large. That's 16 by 16 screens like this, basically. You start off in the middle of the map, just above you, but you won't be able to get to it without going all the way through the maze, is the end screen of the game, that doorway up above. There are various baddies in the maze, some of which you can kill, some of which will just run away when you hit them, and some of which you basically can't kill and will kill you, which is basically the Sabre Wulf himself, or the wolf himself rather. The amulet's always in screens like that one we just went into there, but we will find one and see if we can find one. There's little guardians wandering around as well, usually by those screens. Game cost £9.95, which was a new price point, and over to the CPC, twice the price of an average Spectrum game. The CPC version was in fact first released as a part of They Sold a Million, alongside Jet Set Willy, Daley Thompson's Decathlon and Beachhead. So there was no standalone release until it was released on budget. No 2-player option on the CPC, but nothing really to worry about there, because you don't gain anything. It's just 1 player after the other. Nightlaw was in fact completed before this game, but Ultimate opted to release Sabre Wulf first because they thought sales would be worse if people had seen what Nightlaw was all about, the 3D, and it looked far more advanced than a top-down 2D game, so they held Nightlaw back. Nice and colourful on the CPC, a lot slower, but it doesn't really matter, although I've got a power-up that slows me down there, but makes me invulnerable. The orchids that grow, that bloom, give you power-ups. The red ones slow you down but make you invulnerable. The light blue ones speed you up and make you invulnerable. The yellow ones pause you for 5 seconds, making you vulnerable to any enemies. And I think there's other ones as well, which we'll come to. There are power-ups as well, or extra lives and things scattered around the maze. Over to the C64, conversion by Greg Duddle of Mr. Micro. Ultimate did not program 6502 versions of their games in-house. It was pretty much Spectrum. You do have a 2-player option though, if that's important to you, which it probably isn't. And the first thing that strikes you about the C64 version is how bad the animation is. It's really bad for a system that has sprites. It's the flickering and jerkiness, and yeah. Well, look at that rhino run past. He's actually flickering. That should not be happening. I don't think the C64 version got released on They Sold a Million either. I think it was a separate release and then went on compilations later on. The game was re-released on the one of the Mastertronic labels, the Ricochet label, in fact, as I recall. I'm over to the BBC, and you can redefine your keys as well. The BBC version of the Ricochet re-release, I think, says it runs on an Electron, which it definitely does not. Now, that was a problem with some Ricochet re-releases. They just said Electron when the game clearly was never going to run on it. You can see the graphics are going to look very similar to the CPC. Colourful and chunky. The instructions for the game are very sparse, by the way, as usual with Ultimate. But the maze is quite good. It guides you around. There's not too many dead ends. So there's always generally one way out of the area you're in. So it's quite easy to find your way, providing you're switched on, around the map. Basically, to get around it, you go along here. You then try and head down to the bottom of the map. You go right and collect some stuff up there, but it's a dead end eventually. You go left along the bottom of the map and then start heading up to the top of the map. You then go through roughly to the centre, out to the other side, and then loop back into the centre to end the game. And here's a problem with the BBC version. Baddies sit at the edge of the screen, and you can't hit them with your sword because you can only hit left or right. Which is, yeah, frustrating. There's a piece of amulet on the spectrum. 1 piece is all you have found. Collect 3 more and outward bound. And you're heading towards the centre of a map where there's a guardian who's waiting for all 4 pieces of the amulet. If you hang around too long on any of the screens, fire appears. Oh look, 2 extra lives. Which is useful because I've got no power-ups, or no cheats on the Spectrum version here, so I don't know how far I'm going to... Oh, fire! That's pretty harsh. It really doesn't like you... Right, that's a blue power-up, so I know I'm ultra-fast and invulnerable for a limited amount of time. That's the wolf. We're down on the... Let's go and see him on the CPC. Quite a lot of flickering on the CPC as well. Don't get too close to the wolf. He will jump on you and he can run. So just stay away. Your sword will have no effect on him. It's best to hold the fire button down pretty much all the time because baddies can spawn and then, you know, you just need to be ready. You'll note on the CPC you can hit baddies that are close to you, just above and just below you. Not very far, but it's incredibly helpful compared to the BBC version where you've got no leeway at all. If baddies blocking your way and it's above or below you, tough luck. Is that a piece of amulet? Overlapping something? Yeah, it is. Yay. 1 piece is all you have found. Collect 3 more and outward bound. Reverb for dramatic effect. By the way, don't bother mapping the game and then mapping where the amulets are. The map stays the same. The location of the amulets do not. They change every game, which gives the game replayability value. Criticism of the game were the price and the difficulty, but overall the magazines were very happy with what they saw. CMVG gave it 36 out of 40, Crash 91%, Sinclair User 8 out of 10, Personal Computer Games 10 out of 10, and ZX Computing 5 stars. And they sold 350,000 copies in total. And this is the game that meant you were paying £9.95 for all your Spectrum games from here on in, because you were paying twice the price. Ultimate thought that if you paid more money, you would be less inclined to let your mates copy your game. Yeah. So that's what they thought, but this is what pushed all the prices up. Ultimate did like pushing the envelope. Was it Lunar Jetman that was the first 48k only Spectrum release? Ultimate liked doing that kind of thing. I think it may have been it, or it was Jetpack. I can't check stuff at the moment. Here we are. So we're still on the C64 version here. The graphics are... They could look more like the BBC and CPC versions, but you get this curious hybrid of those versions and the Spectrum. They could be chunkier, and the graphics could probably be... Well, it seems like the screen's slightly narrow as well. Perhaps they've copied the Spectrum graphics across. It does have the feel of a quickie conversion. And it's a shame Ultimate didn't seem to care about what the other versions looked like. The Spectrum version had to be impeccable, but if someone else was putting it up, they didn't care. Right now, that baddie's going to sit at the bottom there because these guardians that wander around on the BBC version, they don't seem to be able to go off the edge of the screen. They just sit there like a spare part. And because you can't shift them, you're basically stuck. So if I go back, now I'm invulnerable, so he should have... No. I was going to say I could walk through him, but he's not there anymore because he's vanished, because this is something the BBC version also does. There's supposed to be continuity of where the baddies are, but the BBC version just randomly forgets. A lot of flickering as well. Nice sound cues for when your invulnerability is running out on the spectrum. Oh, there we go again. So now I'm trapped. And there's another one. Great. And there's no way out up the top. It's a dead end. And there's no orchids that could bloom on the screen that give me invulnerability to get past. Oh, there is one there. There's one there. But that yellow would just... Yellow just stuns you. Oh. Nope. The only way out is to die. That's pretty shoddy. You'd think they'd notice that. Oh, where did he come from? He wasn't there just now. Okay, so that rhino thing or hippo sleeps in that position there. But he wasn't there just now. Weird, weird. I don't know if it's true on the BBC version here, but on the Spectrum version, there's audio cues in terms of where the amulets are. That baddies will make different noises depending on which direction they're facing relative to the nearest amulet piece. Now, Ultimate used to like putting things like that in the game as little clues without explaining what they were. Back on the Spectrum, and that's down the bottom of the map. And the entire map is surrounded by mountains. So what we're trying to do now is get... See, that Guardian's quite happy going off and on the screen. Those little spiky Guardians as well. On the... Oh, game over. 12% completed. Well, yeah. Those little spiky Guardians on the CPC only appear in certain dead-end screens and they do not go off those screens. Here we go. Exactly on cue. He cannot get off this screen. He will just patrol this screen only. Again, I don't know why that is. It's weird, isn't it? All these little differences on a game that should be so simple to convert. That the Ultimate put basic rules into the game about how the baddies behave, and then, right, that's an invulnerability, faster, power up on the orchid. Ultimate put all these little things into the Spectrum game, rules about how the games work. The game works, and then they power extra life, and then the people converting it have ignored the rules. Oh, no, I got hit there. So I'm still only on one piece of amulet. Is that right? I think it is. You can't check. There's no way of knowing. You just get told your lives. And I've got 8 because I'm on infinite lives here on the CPC. Back on the C64, the wolves killed me. And that was the far right of the map. The wolves animated really badly on the C64. Again, why? Do you know what this looks like? This looks like a C16 or +4 game because that machine doesn't have sprites. I don't think this is using any of the C64's sprite capability, which would be really odd. But look how slowly and jerkily everything moves. And if that's the case, I wonder if anyone's done a +4 conversion. Oh, he's going to leap on me. He leaps on you. Sorry for background noise, by the way. Someone's using a leaf blower outside. Oh, another piece of amulet. 2. I have 2. Reverb on. 2 pieces found are yours to keep. This score again is something I'd press fire. Moved it on. 3rd piece. 1 piece more must you amass. To find the keeper you may pass. Yeah. And those amulets change every single time. Right, I'm coming back to the start position, aren't I? Above, I think, here on the CPC. Yeah, here we go. I've only got 3 pieces of amulet, though. That's the baddie you got to get past. That's the gatekeeper with his big witch doctor mask and his spears. Simply achieved by palette switching. Right, there's got to be another piece of amulet around here. Why am I chasing him? I'm not going to be able to get... No, you see, that's stupid. I might as well just hide from him. There's nothing you can do. about him. Up we go, out the way. Let the rhino thing run past. Down we go. Oh, no, yeah, that's helpful. Right, so the thing is, hopefully that remaining piece of amulet is up here, because if it's not, I've missed a screen somewhere and I'm not going to find it. If you'd like to, you can help support this channel. The 2020 ChinnyVision calendar is now available, A3 in size, and all the screenshots from original hardware. 11 formats featured lots of games such as Total Recall, Football Manager, Barbarian, Way the Exploding Fist, and many, many more. A3 and proper litho print. None of this digital stuff knocked up at an online store. And a lovely design by Steve Green for ChinnyVision. So check that out at ChinnyVision.com or click the link below to order your copy today. Or if you don't want to do that, you can always support ChinnyVision on Patreon. Again, click the link below. Just $1 a month gets you basically all the access you will ever need. Right, so I've looked up there and the amulet isn't up there. I've skipped past it somewhere. I can't complete the game without looping back on myself. Sabre Wulf is a game changer. It changed how much we paid for our 8-bit games. £9.95 for a computer game, the standard price for many years to come. It's not particularly innovative. It is just a development of Attic Attack, and you can see why Ultimate held back Night Law until this game was out. It is very polished, it is very well designed, and the fact that despite the lack of instructions you can play the game and enjoy it is a testament to the game design. But then Ultimate did plan out everything so well. The Spectrum version is the most polished and the original, but special mention to the CPC and BBC versions. They both look good, although there's a few gameplay breaking things in that BBC version. And it's a shame the Guardian patterns aren't the same on CPC as the Spectrum. The C64 version is just a little bit shoddy, not good enough. It doesn't seem to use sprites. It's like playing a C6, well, it's more like playing a +4 game, to tell you the truth. The system doesn't have any sprite supports. Jerky, flickery, doesn't look particularly good. Sabre Wulf is an iconic game. Today, yeah, it's worth the half hour of gameplay it's going to take you to get through the game, but some of these versions are just a little bit too tough. I'd stick with the Spectrum.